We're going to start our afternoon off with breaking news, as we always tend to do, which involves 3 escaped inmates who are now back in custody. Our Kevin Stewart has been following up on this story throughout the morning. And Kevin, this trio of inmates described as dangerous. And what's so crazy to me about this story is how far away they had gotten from the Atlanta Metro when they were captured.
Yeah, they were found in the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area down in South Florida, which is, I think, more than 500, probably about 600 miles here from DeKalb County. They are in the Broward County Jail, and they will soon be extradited back here to DeKalb County. They've been on the run since Sunday night at some point during that time. They had been looking for them in the jail around dinner time and realized they had escaped. I want to give you a look at these suspects. Your first guy, his name is Stevenson Charles. He's accused of murder. He was awaiting a January trial here in DeKalb County. And worth noting, he already pled guilty to sex assault and kidnapping charges in Gwinnett and got life for it. Second suspect, Yusuf Minor, he's charged with armed robbery. And a third escapee, Noad Johannes, he's locked up on assault and arson charges. Authorities are not being specific in how the inmates got out, but say that jail cell infrastructure was compromised. When those guys left the jail, they were met outside by someone and then got a ride share to South Florida, which authorities are now calling a kidnapping. The Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Marshal's Office says tracking jail phone calls help piece this all together. The sheriff insists she is not going to point fingers, but she does say infrastructure issues with the jail are a problem.
We operate a 30-plus-year-old facility. And as with the building of such, some of the infrastructure can be compromised with effort by the inmates. That being the case in this instance, we would not like to be more specific as not to give out the person's ideas of how to further compromise this building. But we're making some adjustments, being assisted by the county to shore up the infrastructure and to make adjustment with our policies regarding to this incident.
My primary focus is to make sure that you all know that the DeKalb County Jail is secure. This is a breach. We're not going to sit here and go back and forth and point blame. We're going to focus on what can we do to stop it from happening in the future. We're going to be asking for things to assist us with this aging facility that's deteriorating right before our eyes. We're going to look at improvements that are needed here. We know that it's going to cost money. We know what it costs. But we either pay now or it's going to be a payment later.
All right, now it is unclear when the escapees will be returning back here to DeKalb County, but we expect that to be happening fairly soon. And when they do, they will face additional charges. Also, the people who help them, we do expect them to have some charges. We're waiting for some names on that one. Ariel?
Yeah, Kevin, you know, I think one of my first questions to you was just going to be, do we know if they had any help inside or outside the jail? Because I think of who called a ride share for them. You know, did they call a ride share themselves? And then if they were able to get out of the jail, did they come out in their orange jumpsuits? Were they able to change into plain clothes? Do we know any of that?
Well, my understanding is that based on listening into the phone calls, one of the inmates called a friend and they met them somewhere out here outside the jail once they got through, and then got them to a girlfriend of Minor who then got them to another location, and they got a ride share, and it was a lift, and got them down there to Florida. And they were, law enforcement was able to track them down to a house in Florida, and they say that rideshare driver was pretty unnerved, and they're interviewing her. But yeah, that part of this whole saga is going to end up being another kidnapping charge.
Wow. Kevin, you know, I feel like I have so many questions. I would love to speak to that Lyft driver and just get an understanding of what she may have heard or seen, because I feel like that's an interesting part of this story. As we wrap up here, Kevin, any final questions that you really want to get answered or things you think viewers should know?
I'm sorry, I repeat that again. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, all good, Kevin. I can tell you're having a little difficulty. In case you can hear me, any final thoughts that you think viewers should know?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we really want to get a good sense of is compromise infrastructure. What does that really mean? As you heard in the soundbite from the chief deputy, they didn't want to be specific about that. They did say it was repaired, and they said they are actually looking at other parts of the jail to see if there is something similar. But what does that actually mean? It's we can theorize on a whole different, lots of different things that I want to be careful going down a rabbit hole on that. But obviously there is a problem, and based on what the sheriff and the chief deputy are saying, a lot of it has to do with crumbling infrastructure. Was there a hole? What was going on there? And obviously to be able to make that phone call to someone to say, hey, meet me outside and let's go. A lot of questions there for sure.
Yeah, Kevin, I get you. I think that's a big thing. How did these guys get out? And how does the public work on any sort of accountability or understanding the situation if they don't know? I get that the sheriff's office wants to kind of protect the information, but I'm sure you'll keep us updated. So, Kevin, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll let you get back to getting ready for our live hours as they continue. Okay, guys, I'm going to bring you back in because we have another story to get to, which involves actually pretty crazy. A man who has been sentenced in a 9/11 for reportedly planning a 9/11 style attack on an Atlanta landmark. So let's get into this. The man you're looking at is Cholo Abdi Abdullah. He's a Kenyan man who targeted, according to prosecutors, Atlanta's tallest skyscraper in a 9/11 style terror plot. He's now going to serve 2 consecutive life terms in prison. And federal prosecutors say he joined the terror group Al-Shabaab in 2015 and spent a year in Somalia receiving military training. Senior operatives at Al-Shabaab, they say, later recruited him for a larger international plot that actually involved flight training in the Philippines so he could learn how to hijack a plane. Prosecutors say Abdullah was ultimately arrested in July 2019 after 2 years of flight training. Prosecutors say he was close to being ready to fly for a major airline when he was arrested. And after his arrest, he ultimately confessed to FBI agents. Prosecutors further say this 34-year-old man actually researched Delta flights and was planning to hijack a commercial flight and crash it into the Bank of America Plaza. That building stands at 55 stories downtown. A federal jury convicted him on 6 terrorism-related counts in November of 2024. And here we're going to continue on with another story that I want to bring in Tyler Fingert for. So Tyler, I understand that we have been covering this crash in Little Five Points, a police chase involving state troopers, and now we're learning a little bit more about the family involved and what they plan to do as they ask for accountability. So what are you learning?
So this is the victim's family. Essentially, there was a police chase back in April that started on I-20. It then ended up on Moreland Avenue. A suspect was being chased by Georgia State troopers, and that chase ended in a crash at the Little Five Points area right by Euclid Avenue in Moreland. And essentially what we know is that crash ended up killing an innocent driver who was just right there trying to go through the intersection. And we sat down with Kate Schenke, which is this victim's mom. That's Cooper Schenke. You're looking at a picture of him right now from our video that we're showing. And this is the suspect who was apparently running from Georgia State troopers back in April. And so Cooper Schenke's mom notified the state of her intention to sue on what would have been his birthday. So that was back in September. She says this is not about money, but purely about prompting change to pursuit policies as she prepares for her first Christmas without her son. Cooper Schenke was killed in April, as I mentioned, in Atlanta's Little Five Points neighborhood when investigators say Paduma Muhammad ran a red light at McClendon and Moreland Avenues while being chased. Investigators say Georgia State Patrol chased Muhammad for several miles before the deadly collision. Prosecutors say the chase happened while she was on bond for other cases involving an armed robbery and kidnapping. In September, on what would have been Cooper's 20th birthday, she notified the state she intended to sue them for $1 million. Kate says the state has 90 days to respond after she notified officials, which runs out at the end of the month. She says she's shocked she hasn't heard anything yet, and Kate says her goal with this is to get GSP to change its pursuit policy. Take a listen to what she told me during our sit-down interview a little bit ago.
It's not a money grab. It's a only way that we can force a hand of, that they're going to do something about this. I'm really hoping that they make the right choices and want to sit and talk with me and not make this a political issue. I'm not trying to defund the police. I'm not trying to hinder them. I am trying to make everything more safe for everyone.
Yeah, and so once again, she is just trying to be able to prompt change after this tragedy that happened. She was an innocent victim. Her son was an innocent victim, just driving, trying to go through that intersection when the accused suspect was apparently running from Georgia State Patrol, ran that red light, slammed into his vehicle, sending his vehicle dozens of yards away from that intersection. Truly a tragic situation. And Kate says she does plan to file that lawsuit within the next 30 days. Again, she hasn't heard anything from GSP. For the record, we do this in every story. We did reach out to Georgia State Patrol to get their side of the story. They said, as you might imagine, that they can't comment on intended or pending litigation, but obviously we're gonna have to wait and see. She did say obviously her attorney sent that notice to them back on September 29th. So far, she has not gotten a response, which actually did shock her, as you heard. And for her thing here is she just wants to prompt change to make sure that innocent victims like her son can be saved if maybe a pursuit policy change can happen.
You know, I think, Tyler, when this happened, you talked a lot about the Georgia State Patrol's chase policy, and we were able to break down specific points. It is interesting because around this time, I remember this wasn't the only story we were covering as it related to state troopers, police chases, and people being caught up in something when they were just innocent bystanders. So one of the things I know, and the mother did kind of address this, is people might say, okay, hey, you know, you're doing this to make money off of a situation, but that was something when you were telling me as you were reporting on this story, this is really about accountability for the family.
Yeah, I mean, you don't expect to be killed in a crash just trying to go through an intersection. And in this case, I mean, obviously we know on the road things can happen. In this case, according to Kate Schenke, she believes that this was preventable, entirely preventable. If you've driven on Moreland Avenue, that is obviously a state road. So it's 2 lanes in each direction, depending where you are. That point at Little 5 Points, just beyond that crash from the direction of where that chase was going, just having driven through that area, it curves.
Yeah.
So people told us at the time that a crash was going to be inevitable, whether it was at that intersection or just a matter of yards away. And so for her, yes, it is about accountability, being able to fully understand why this had to happen. And she wants to be able to prevent other people from falling victim to this, because it wasn't like this Cooper was running from police.
No, he wasn't.
Well, he was the innocent victim here, and that's her argument. She believes that there needs to be more, maybe layers. I mean, we know the pursuit policy when we received it via an open records request. It's not an entirely long policy. It's only a few pages, maybe up to a dozen pages, if I remember correctly. It's not long, and there are clear rules for what they have to do, but essentially they can chase someone if there's a felony.
Yeah.
As she said to me today, there's a difference between someone wanted for murder and someone just wanted for speeding and reckless driving.
Right.
And then that reckless driving, apparently, according to what investigators and prosecutors tell us, resulted in that crash. And then we did see the police chase video.
Yes.
From the dash camera when they played it in court several months ago, and it was very interesting to see. You could see the erratic driving, the high speed, and this deputy the trooper trying to stay up with Faduma Mohammed and trying to stop her.
Right.
But then obviously we know it ended in that crash. And so purely about accountability, and that's why she really just wants to see changes to prevent more lives from being lost.
Tyler, thank you for your reporting on this. Absolutely, my heart goes out to that family. Their first Christmas without Cooper, so definitely devastating situation. I know you'll keep us updated as any policy changes may be in effect, so thank you so much.
And if the lawsuit's filed, we'll of course stay on top of that as well.
Yes, keep us updated. Okay, guys, we're going to move on to some national stories that I want to keep you updated on. It may be a holiday week, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a busy day or week, I should say, on the White House steps. So you can see a live look there in Washington, D.C. at the White House, and I'd like to get you updated on a couple stories that I know a lot of you guys are talking about. The first one being the Justice Department actually released another batch of files related to Jeffrey Epstein this morning. It includes emails, unverified tips, more pictures, and even some items known to be, quote, fake. There's also many references to President Trump. And as this saga continues to unfold, we know that the Justice Department released some 11,000 documents, days after a deadline to release all government material related to the convicted sex offender's case, that being Jeffrey Epstein. Now, among the heavily redacted files is a January 2020 email from an assistant U.S. attorney stating President Trump flew on Epstein's plane at least 8 times between 1993 and 96, more than originally reported, and at least once with Epstein alone, and another time with just Epstein and an unnamed 20-year-old woman. When the files came out, there was a note of caution attached to them, the DOJ posting some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump. The first batch of documents released contained dozens of photos of Epstein with high-powered men, including Trump and Clinton. And although Trump signed off on releasing the files, the president thinks they're doing more harm than good. He has said that he doesn't like the pictures of other people being shown and thinks it's a terrible thing. The files also contain many unverified tips sent into law enforcement and a, quote, debunked video purporting to show Epstein's 2019 suicide inside of his Manhattan jail cell. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this situation because I know a lot of you guys have had questions about it. But in the meantime, I want to let you know what is happening with another drug boat strike, this time not in the waters of the Caribbean, but in the waters of the Eastern Pacific. The United States has struck a suspected drug boat, and it's the 29th such strike that we know of. It comes as President Trump actually has announced a huge expansion for the United States Navy. The Trump administration continues to defend these strikes, arguing they're having a measurable impact on the drug trade. There could be a larger strategy at play, though. The first strike on this suspected drug boat in the Eastern Pacific hit wide of the target, and then direct hits triggered a fire and then an explosion. We don't yet know where that boat was coming from, but when we get that information, we'll let you know right here on Fox Local. President Trump talked yesterday about the previous boat attacks, many of which have been used to increase pressure on Venezuela. And there's been a recent effort to nab tankers attempting to carry Venezuelan oil. So that is another issue that we have been covering, and especially as Congress, Democratic lawmakers, and even some Republicans have asked whether or not the White House has the authority to carry out these strikes without congressional approval. But in the meantime, the president has announced a new class of battleships, like I was just discussing, and they're actually going to be called, they're going to be more powerful than any U.S. warships before. So I should mention that. Larger, faster, more powerful. And one of the things that President Trump has said when he unveiled the plan last night is that it's part of the administration's vision of, quote, a golden fleet. According to the president, the ships will be armed with technologies like hypersonic missiles, railguns, and high-powered lasers, some of which the Navy is still developing. The expansion is going to start with 2 vessels said to be longer and larger than World War II-era Iowa-class battleships. Eventually, this is going to grow to a fleet of 20 to 25 vessels, and this is all to secure naval dominance, according to the Trump administration. The project comes just 1 month after the Navy dropped plans for a newly built small warships because of delays and high costs. And additionally, this time around, along with the Navy, the Trump's also going to lead the design of the American-made ships. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that. I'm going to look at our comments real quick and see if you guys have any questions about any stories that we're covering. Looking here on TikTok, it looks like some of you guys are still talking about the state trooper story. One of you is saying that you believe that Georgia State Patrol needs to continue to be held accountable because the chases endanger a lot of people. So this is something that we have heard from a lot of people, especially regarding this story, and we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn any new information, whether or not this mother files her lawsuit and whether that sparks any larger change. So we'll keep you updated. If you guys have any questions on the stories we're covering, let me know and I'll see if I can get answers for you. Moving here real quickly before we get to our weather, which is coming up, I want to keep you updated on another story that is making some waves across the pond. pond, if you will, because the White House is making another push, or at least discussing a push, to acquire Greenland. And it's ruffling some diplomatic feathers. The White House says this is all about national security. But this time, the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, is leading the charge here. The president appointed Landry as his new special envoy to the Arctic island. Greenland is currently a possession of Denmark, in case you didn't know, but the White House says that the Danish government isn't investing in Greenland's defense, and that's creating a problem for the United States. Denmark is pushing back. The Danish and Greenlandic prime ministers released a joint statement condemning this move, writing in part, quote, "Greenland belongs to Greenlanders." They say they'll work with the United States, but only if mutual respect is offered. And Foreign Minister Lars Rasmussen says he'll speak with the U.S. ambassador to Denmark in the coming days with the goal of responding to Jeff Landry's assertion that he wants to make Greenland, quote, a part of the United States. Now, Denmark isn't alone in this. It's getting strong backing from its European allies. We do know that President Trump has also refused to rule out use of force in taking over Greenland, telling reporters, quote, "We'll have to work that out." So we'll continue to keep you updated with this unfolding diplomatic situation. But in the meantime, we're going to check on your weather forecast coming up next. It is a holiday week, and it feels like you might as well be on holiday. But we're going to talk about how these temperatures are going to change when we come back. Welcome back, you guys. I am Ariel Onstad here with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. Jonathan, holiday week, but like I said, it feels like we should be on holiday with temperatures like these.
I am so happy to be here today.
Jonathan's thrilled. Are you guys ready for a warm Christmas? Let us know. I'm looking at the TikTok comments. I'm looking at YouTube. If you want a cold Christmas, unfortunately, Jonathan, we just can't do anything about that.
I don't care what you want this year because you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
Let's go back here. Judea, let's do a double box with this.
Okay, let's look at it.
So 75. Warmest Christmas in Atlanta since records were kept, starting in 1878, 75 degrees, the coldest. 83, 0, rainiest.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, 2 inches of rain, that's a lot.
That's brutal.
Back in 45, and then 2010, the year I graduated high school, it was snowing. Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then this year, are we going to break any records for warmth on
Let's
Christmas?
go. Christmas Eve, we're going to go for a record. So I'm showing you the morning hours here. It's
Okay.
a little build up. So
Yeah,
tomorrow morning,
he's priming us.
Yeah, doing a little tease. That's what Santa's been doing all season, right? It's the season of teasing. What would you like?
Yes, exactly.
So some clouds and fog to start tomorrow morning. Temperatures quickly grow into the 60s, and let's throw some 70s on the board. We'll definitely do it on Christmas Day. So here's how it all works out. The mornings are cloudy, the clouds are thick, and they are low hanging, meaning you will have fog, especially where the wind is not alive. Where you get the sunshine is during the second half of the day, and it's an extra boost of sunshine and the penetration of the cloud cover that is so common in the morning hours that we think will unleash record time temperatures. I don't know if they'll be record breaking, but based on our forecast, the current record for Christmas Eve tomorrow stands at 73 degrees.
Wow.
That was set back in 2016, 9 years ago. And then our forecast high, 73 degrees. So that's the tie there. Sunday, or Christmas Day, I should say. That's Thursday, 75, 75. Record once again 10 years ago. 2015, 75. So let's see if we can do it all again. If you're traveling, the problems today up across the Great Lakes and the interior Northeast. Some rain for the I-95 corridor, but most of the precip that's sticking in the forms of winter weather is happening for the interior zones across upstate New York going into New England. That atmospheric river continues to pummel the Pacific coast, west coast, all the way from the Pacific Northwest, all the way down through central and southern California, dealing with some rough weather. Meanwhile, the nation's heartland, relatively quiet. Into the Rockies tomorrow, we'll find that system that's rolling in off the Pacific, moving into the interior west coast, and they'll have to deal with some travel issues there. Meanwhile, things are relatively calm here across the southeast, with our next best chance for rain coming on Sunday, as you may be leaving town or coming back in town. Keep that in mind. It's only a wet weather system, but behind it is some bone-chilling air that will greet us on Monday, with temperatures falling down into the 30s. But until then, we are riding on our high horse of 70-plus degree temperatures. I don't have a 7-day for you today.
That's okay.
So we're just going to hold out
Okay.
on all that. But keep that in mind. Look at this. All these fronts keep on moving through the area. But look at this.
Oh, wow.
Nothing happens. It's not tapping on any moisture. But what I want you to see here is the cloud game. You're back and forth, in and out. Systems keep on moving across the Ohio River Valley, moving down near the Tennessee Valley. But once they get here, they have nothing to tap into. There's no moisture. So you're going to see a lot of clouds, and the clouds will cause intimidation to people who are on the ground. Observers see clouds and we think, is it about to rain? And you're going to be asking yourself that question today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, and maybe even Saturday and Sunday. Sunday's the day for rain. These are the days that clouds are just there to give a look, but not to accomplish much.
Makes you think it's cold outside, and then you step out and realize you've been fooled.
You're like, sure.
Jonathan, one thing I have found interesting is that it's not just us here in Georgia who is having a really warm Christmas, but really a lot of other people are experiencing this well. I have friends in Salt Lake City, Utah, no snow on the ground for the ski resorts. In our TikTok comments here, it looks like someone's from the Netherlands saying also no snow. They're getting some cold from Russia, but they also say that it seems like it's warmer in the Netherlands too. So
The interesting thing is, I can't speak for the forecast across the pond because I
Sure.
don't forecast there. But when we had pieces of the polar vortex that were breaking apart coming down here, that means that the polar vortex is circular around the Arctic. That means that other areas are not getting as cold as they should be, because we have pieces of them breaking off and affecting us. And so where it expands in another area is retreating. So it's retreating in areas that are historically colder,
okay.
like you would have areas near Siberia.
Wow. Okay.
And obviously to the north of places like Greenland, as you get into Europe's territory, much closer to the Arctic Circle. Nonetheless, we've endured our cold blasts, but the way the jet stream has been positioned, we've basically been on the cusp of some cold air. But if you look out to the west has been in a kind of a ridge pattern, and it's not been protecting it from those Pacific storms that have come in with the atmospheric river. But what you've been hearing about is a lot of rainfall, copious amounts of rainfall. What does that tell you? It's more wet weather than winter weather.
Yes.
So the temperatures are up out there. So that impacts places like you were talking about, like Utah. They are getting some precip. It's not dry necessarily, but it's all warm weather precip, and that's rain. No snow.
Jonathan, fascinating. I feel like I could talk weather with you forever. As we move on, prepare to move on to some other news topics here really quickly, I just want to land on this record forecast 2015. Looks like we're headed there again, potentially here in 2025.
10 years later.
Wow.
What's old is new again. You like what I did? A Christmas for the record.
Yes, a Christmas for the records. But so clever. I also just, it's wild to me because I feel like originally we were going to do, it was going to be 67 for the high, and it just eked up warmer. So it's pretty wild.
And so I'm going to produce a new forecast. I'll bring it out at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
Just kind of update some things. We'll see, because the clouds today kind of got me iffy.
Yeah.
So I want to check on our current temperature. You ready to go, Aaron?
Yeah, let's do it real quick.
Okay, really quick. So let's see what we got right now. And we had a burst. We needed 65. Okay, 65 is what we're going to do for today.
Okay.
Our forecast high is 69.
Okay.
The window of opportunity to get to 69 is pretty close, pretty short, pretty tight. So can we make 69 degrees? It's warm, so it's tomato to most people, but is it warm? Yeah, but we were expecting it to be warmer by this time, so that could cause some forecasting fright, and we may start pulling back on that 75.
Okay. Good to know.
These morning clouds are like crazy.
Yeah.
Get this cold front out of here. I think we can get there, yeah.
Cold front. That's crazy. Jonathan, thanks so much. Appreciate you as always. Okay, guys, let's catch up with another story here that we've actually been talking about quite a bit because it involves Warner Brothers and the hostile takeover that Paramount has tried to launch. So let's actually get into it, because this bidding war in Hollywood has been heating up with Paramount Skydance now amending its bid. Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison is making a personal guarantee of more than $40 billion towards Paramount's $108 billion all-cash offer for Warner Brothers Discovery. So Paramount is led by Larry's son, Chairman and CEO David Ellison, and we know that the breakup fee has also been up to match Netflix's $8 billion figure, payable to Warner if its deal does not clear regulatory review. So basically, they're saying, hey, Netflix, you can keep your deal. We're going to pay more. We're going to buy all of Warner Brothers entities. We're going to back the debt. We want the whole thing. Netflix actually refinanced part of a $59 billion bridge loan to bolster its financial package, underpinning its bid for Warner, because originally they were not offering full cash, and now that has changed. Earlier this month, Warner agreed to sell its studio and streaming assets to Netflix in a deal valued at roughly $83 billion. The Ellisons are friendly with President Trump, who's made it clear he wants new ownership for CNN, which is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery. Some say Larry Ellison may not have movies on his mind, and we don't really know what his intentions would be for the company. Netflix says its offer for Warner's assets would preserve jobs as layoffs mount across the entertainment industry. AI has been a huge disruptor in all of this, but we'll keep you updated as to what ultimately happens with the deal here. But if you like kielbasa, I think this is an important story to let you guys know about, because we're dealing with a recall. So if you eat the meat you see here on your screen, we know that this meat is being recalled due to possible contamination. The Food Safety Inspection Service says about 1,930 pounds of ready-to-eat holiday kielbasa made by Olympia Provisions Company is being called back. It affects 16-ounce packages labeled Olympia Provisions Uncured Holiday Kielbasa. It was produced October 14th and has a best if used by date of February 19th of next year. Now, basically what we're learning is these holiday sausages may be contaminated with a foreign material like metal. It was shipped to retail locations in California, Oregon, Washington, and here in some parts of the Southeast. Also available for purchase nationally through online to direct consumer sales. So there's a chance you could have bought it online. So definitely something to keep in mind. No injuries or illnesses have been reported so far, but if this is a meat that you like to have here around the holidays, it is a limited product for this season of year. clear, make sure that you throw it away, or of course you can contact the company. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this. And real quickly here, I want to continue on with a very quick story about flu cases and where we stand there, because as so many people are getting ready to gather for the holidays, maybe you're already with family and friends, you might be bringing some germs along with you, because we know that flu cases are surging here across the nation. And one of the things that we have seen is that there are nearly 5 million cases already reported ahead of the holidays. Doctors are actually looking at whether or not this season could be tougher than usual, thanks in part due to a new part of the virus. H3N2 is a strain that developed late in the year, and it's included in this vaccine's formula, but it tends to be more infectious and can cause more severe symptoms. So if you've been feeling just really awful flu symptoms that are tougher than normal, that could be a reason why. Fever, cough, body aches, and fatigues, all part of this. In some parts of the country, cases are so high among children, schools have just started to start winter break a little early. So we'll continue to keep you updated if we notice anything here in the Atlanta area or throughout the Southeast. But one thing to keep in mind, doctors do say antiviral medications work best when started within the first few days of symptoms. So we'll continue to keep you updated on this, you guys. Coming up next, we're going to get a check of some more news for you, and we're going to be having a few other stories that I want to touch bases on with you coming up. If you're streaming along with us here on Fox Local, thanks so much. And if you're listening on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM, thanks for being a listener. We've got more news coming up. Welcome back in, you guys. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for streaming along. We want to talk about something as we approach the new year involving real estate. You know, we've seen a lot of ups and downs with the market this year. And if you're thinking about investing in real estate in 2026, we want to talk about where we're headed, how things look, and how we can be successful with this. So I'd like to bring in some realtors with HomeSmart. We have Kevin Housley and Kim Hartigan Housley here with us. Guys, thanks so much for joining.
Hi there.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yes, hi.
Thanks for joining me on a holiday week. So I have a question as we start off here. What do you see happening with the housing market in the new year? What is the data? What are the trends telling you as we approach 2026?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we've seen a trend with the Fed slowly starting to decrease interest rates. So that's definitely given momentum to the housing market. So we really see it being very promising going into 2026. And I think the data even shows that there's definitely more home buyers coming back into the market.
Yeah, definitely the market has slowed down. There's not like a frenzy anymore like it used to be. So no more multiple bidding. It definitely slowed down. More opportunities for investors to get a true market value on properties.
So if I'm looking at real estate investment, are there certain properties that might be more desirable or certain things that I should focus my attention, my money, my resources on?
Well, I know agents always say this, but location. The biggest thing as any real estate investor, you need to look at the location, have a real estate professional do a CMA and see what the homes in that area, how long is it taking for those homes to sell in the market? And if you see that it's taking a longer time for those homes to sell, that is definitely an opportunity for you to come in and negotiate.
Yeah, definitely check the rental rate, how much it is, how much it goes for. Definitely do research. Definitely reach out to professionals such like us. Definitely call HomeSmart.
So if you mentioned location, are there any locations here in the Atlanta area that you think would be smart investments?
Honestly, I think all of Metro Atlanta is a smart location, and even outside of the perimeter is a smart location. You really have to do your due diligence, right? To really see, again, how long are these homes taking to sell? Check the value of the homes in that area and just really do your research.
Yes, I agree.
So guys, second question here, or I guess follow up to that, as we look at whether or not it makes sense for us, right? How do we determine if real estate is something that we should invest in? I understand it's probably a personal question for a lot of people, but are there certain boxes we can check if we're saying, hey, what do we want to put our money into that could make it seem like a smart choice?
Well, it's a preference. You want to, you have goals. Is it a short-term investment or long-term investment? Do you want cash flow or do you want instant profit? So you definitely want to write down your goals.
And I think for us, the biggest goal for us was long-term. Just for us, it was about residual income, because being real estate agents, like, our money really is not consistent, and we want to retire one day and be able to not worry about, hustling every day. So rentals seem to kind of check all the boxes for us.
Yes, and it's easier to control. That's for sure.
So as we wrap up here, what are some key considerations that one should think about if they are getting an investment property here in Georgia? Are there any rules or regulations that people should be aware of?
There are rules and regulations, especially if you're doing like a short-term rental.
Like Airbnb.
Yeah, VRBO, you have to get a short-term license, and you can apply that in the city. I think it's $150 application fee.
And definitely check HOA rules, because
HOA.
Don't go out buying a property and the HOA doesn't even allow for you to have rental property. So I think that's very, very important. But outside of that, definitely always call the county or the city and find out what the application process is, what are the fees associated with having a rental, especially short term.
Check the zoning as well.
Makes sense. You guys, thank you so much for your time, letting us know what to expect, because yeah, I think a lot of people might think, oh, I'm gonna, Airbnb this condo, right? And then you start to look at the HOA and realize, oh, they don't even really allow rentals, much less a short term like a VRBO or an Airbnb. So thanks so much for your time joining us during this holiday week. And I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, we're going to move on here. I have another story we are going to get to with our Chris Rosenthal coming up. I know a lot of us like to shop local, support local artists during the holidays for our gifts for family and friends. Chris Rosenthal is going to show us a place where we can do that. Today's the last day, and that's next. Welcome back in. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for streaming along here with us. You guys, if you've waited until now to do your holiday shopping, I'd like to say you're not alone. I know you're not. And Chris Rosenthal is out checking out the Spruill Art Gallery. Chris, I understand this is located in a Victorian homestead. It sounds super interesting, so I'm so excited for the tour you're about to take us on. And I hope you're going to get some really cool gifts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's an 1800s home. You may have driven by it here on Ashford Dunwoody Road. I've driven by it many times, and I never actually stopped. So it's a beautiful place. It's these walls behind me are usually is an art gallery here, yeah, it's usually an art gallery here. But they have Christmas holiday art fair, so lots of variety of things you can buy. They're open till 6. This is kind of your last chance to come out and get some Christmas gifts, all made by local artists. And I'm here with Thea King. And tell me, what have been some of the most popular things people have come to get here?
Ornaments are always our most popular. No matter how many we have, we're always a little worried that we might sell out before the end of the holiday art fair.
And you still have some left. You have some.
We do, yes.
And these are some unique ones over here, huh?
Yeah, beautiful. We have the fused glass are very popular. It's something that's taught in our classes over at the Sproul Center for the Arts. And these are actually made by Beth Sachs, who not only takes classes at the Sproul Center for the Arts, but this was actually her grandparents' house, this 1800s farmhouse.
Wow, so kind of a cool significance there, yeah.
It is, yes.
And we could walk some more this way, I guess. And the, you know, these artisans, a lot of these are in your classes that you guys have at the Sproul Arts Center. So, I mean, there's a variety of classes that they learn from, huh?
There are. There's ceramics, jewelry making, the fused glass that we talked about, painting. Some of the students have been taking classes for so long that they have become instructors at the center, which is very exciting, seeing that full circle.
And you know, when you buy these items, I mean, that money goes back to the artists and artisans.
It does. You're supporting local small businesses. We are a nonprofit, but it's also supporting local artists and artisans.
And not just Christmas stuff. I mean, this other room, I think it has, you know,
yes.
Stuff that, you know, items and gifts that could work for really any time of the year, but obviously great for Christmas as well, huh?
Yes, we have some items that can be great gifts, stocking stuffers, as well as if you're looking for a birthday present for someone or a little something for yourself, because it's okay to buy yourself a gift too.
How's it, you know, this has been going on for 6 weeks, and I mean, I've just been in here today, and it's been pretty busy. How's it been? I mean,
it's been wonderful. It's one of our busiest years that we've ever had. This is the most amount of artists that we've ever had participating, 147 this year. Mm-hmm. So there's been a lot for people to choose from, and we've had a lot of returning customers that have come back to see if they missed anything or what new items are on display.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you can go to the mall, do the big stores, but you can also come here and support small local artists, huh?
Yes, and we're only a couple of blocks from the mall. If you're over there today, you can stop by before 6 p.m.
Yeah, and that's the cutoff, 6 p.m. Huh?
Yes.
Gotcha. You know, after 6 p.m. today, when do you guys reopen? What's in store?
We'll do inventory, and then the artists come to do pickup of their work. And then after that, we will reopen to the public on January 13th for an artist residency that week with Jay Reddish. And then after that, we will have our first exhibition of 2026 that opens on January 23rd.
Gotcha. All right. So if you're not able to come out today and get some gifts, still some more opportunities to come here and enjoy some art. So
yes,
beautiful, Chris,
as well as shopping in the Sproul shop.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I love the idea of supporting local, and Sproul Shops located within an 1840s Victorian homestead, also home to the Sproul Gallery there in Dunwoody, and it's in the Perimeter Business District. So just a wonderful place to go. I love everything you've showed us, Chris. I'm kind of like, oh, what time do I get off? Maybe I can skedaddle north and do a little shopping. So thanks for the look. I appreciate it. Chris Rosenthal out there giving us a idea of how we can get some last minute holiday gifts. Okay guys, coming up, we're going to get a check of some other national stories that I want to let you know about in case you're just joining us right here on Fox Local, streaming along or joining us on the radio 107.9 HD2 FM. Thanks so much for being a listener. We've got some more news to cover coming up, and we're going to chat about it. One of the things I want to talk about is immigration, and another thing being wind farms. That's coming up. Welcome back. I'm Ariel Onstadt. Thanks so much for streaming along with us. If you guys are just joining, I want to keep you updated on some stories that we're following here in our newsroom. One of the stories involves some incentives that the White House is rolling out for undocumented and illegal immigrants to basically self-deport. The Trump administration says it wants to help migrants reunite with their families for the holidays. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announcing her department is tripling the incentive for immigrants who are here illegally to leave voluntarily by the end of the year. Noem says that they will buy a ticket for illegal immigrants, give them a $3,000 to go home, and that includes, she says, people who have not been detained, maybe have interacted with law enforcement, but don't have any criminal charges against them. The holiday incentive also comes as the Trump administration continues to crack down on those who've entered the country illegally, and programs allowing people to come to the United States illegally after 2 National Guard soldiers were shot in Washington, D.C. By an Afghan national. We do know that the White House suspended all active asylum claims. Additionally, last week's shootings at Brown and MIT universities prompted officials to suspend the visa lottery program that allowed that gunman to come to the United States. Democrats in the courts have pushed back against President Trump's immigration actions ever since he's returned to office. Now some church officials are voicing their frustrations, but we're going to continue to keep you updated on this situation because Congress did create the now suspended visa lottery program back in 1990, and there's a lot of uncertainty now that this is not in play as to what will happen next. Really quickly here, a final story here nationally I want to keep you updated on. Actually involves the Trump administration announcing a pause on major offshore wind projects, effective immediately. Leases on projects in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New York are going to be suspended. And the White House says that this is because of national security concerns. The Interior Department says unclassified government reports show turbine blades can cause radar interference, which could obscure moving targets. And they believe this pause, the Pentagon says, is going to allow them to assess the turbines to see if there are any security risks. Wind advocates, as you might imagine, are calling this an attack on clean energy, but we're going to continue to keep you updated on where we're going to stand with this and whether or not this pause on wind energy will come back into effect for those major projects in those locations like I discussed. But as we prepare here for our 3 o'clock hour, we've got Tom Haynes here. Tom, where are we headed? What do we got cooking?
You know, the president has always been against these windmill farms and the giant windmills. He said that they are unsightly, they kill birds. It's just been something that has been nagging at him for as long as I can remember. Every time he brings up these windmills, it's just
not a fan.
Not a fan, if you will. Okay. So no surprise that the administration's coming down on these windmill farms. You talked about it, Ariel, throughout your program, these 3 escaped inmates.
Crazy.
A couple of them captured down in Miami-Dade County. In the Miami area, I believe still in the Broward County Jail awaiting extradition back to Georgia, but we're going to have the circumstances as to how they were captured, what happened, and the effort to get them back here to face charges for that. In the past hour, a high school student spoke publicly for the first time after this video surfaced of him getting tased.
I'm interested in that. I want to hear what he had to say.
So our Rob D'Arienzo is on top of that story, and he's going to join us live. And I know how much you love schlepping all of your luggage with you for holiday travel.
I do? Did I say that?
And then waiting in the airport, ticket counter line, and then printing those things at the kiosk yourself.
Yeah.
Now you can't even have somebody do it for you anymore.
Right.
So we're going to talk to the founder of a company. It's a great idea. Why it wasn't thought of sooner, I don't know.
I felt like you would enjoy this.
It's going to take all that work off your hands. It's like a
and they're an Atlanta-based company.
Yeah, door-to-door service. So you don't have to worry about your luggage. It's going to show up where you are. So.
And taking a look outside too, we're going to get a check of your forecast, and it looks, Tom, kind of like it's going to rain, but like Jonathan told us, there's no rain in the cards for today.
Just can't shake the clouds today, which is making that chill in the air feel even chillier, even though we've been hearing all week about how it's supposed to warm up for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We are stuck in the clouds. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy will join us here in just a couple of minutes here in the 3 p.m. streaming hour to talk about when these clouds are going to move out. As we welcome you to the 3 o'clock hour here on Fox Local, we thank you so much for joining us today. So glad you're with us on this holiday week. I'm Tom Haynes with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. A lot of news still to get to today. Just because it's a holiday week doesn't mean there isn't a whole lot going on. And we begin with breaking news. Those 3 inmates who escaped from the DeKalb County jail now back in custody, we understand. 2 of them captured overnight in Miami-Dade County, Florida, in the metro Miami area after they escaped their cells, leading to a widespread search. The U.S. Marshals joined that search, with authorities still reviewing how these inmates managed to escape in the first place. That is the big question before they were recaptured. 2 of them are in the Broward County Jail right now, waiting extradition back to Georgia. Officials not explaining how long the inmates were missing or how they were able to escape the jail. Additionally, they haven't released details about their recapture. So a lot of questions still to be answered here. One of the inmates, Stevenson Charles, was serving a life sentence for multiple violent crimes and was considered extremely dangerous, according to the U.S. Marshals. But again, the good news here on this Tuesday is that all 3 are back in custody, 2 of them making it all the way down to South Florida. Well, also in the news here today, in the past couple of hours, we heard from a high school student who is now speaking publicly for the very first time after video surfaced showing a Fulton County Schools police officer tasing him repeatedly. Lanier Johnson Hunt and his attorneys say that he was wrongfully targeted while riding the school bus. Let's get out to Fox 5's Rob DiRienzo, who has been on top of this story all afternoon long. Rob, what did that teenager have to say this afternoon?
Hey there, Tom. Good evening to you. Well, he was very soft-spoken, standing alongside Georgia NAACP President Gerald Griggs, along with his civil rights attorney and his mother. His explanation for all of this is essentially this was a misunderstanding that turned violent for no reason. I want to show you this cell phone video that we've been talking about for about 5 days now. This happened on Thursday here at Langston Hughes High School here in Fulton County. 18-year-old Lanier Johnson Hunt was trying to ride the bus Thursday when that officer tried to remove him, claiming he was on the wrong bus. Now, the student refused, and the officer deployed his taser, appearing multiple times. Now, this exchange was caught on camera in a bus full of students. Now, that officer has been removed from duty during this investigation, and a little while ago, as you mentioned, we heard directly from the teen. Take a listen.
He had choked me, tried to choke me, then he tased me. When he tased me, I got up. I was still, I don't know, my adrenaline was just rushing. And I just know that he tried to tase me again while I was getting off the bus. And I jumped off the bus. And when I was off the bus, they put me in some handcuffs. And the officer who tased me had started slapping me while my hands was in the handcuffs.
If you were unlawfully encountered, you have an absolute right to question that encounter. And so for those who are saying, oh, he should have just obeyed the officer, he should have done what the officer said, that's not what the state law and the state constitution say.
And Tom, we're hearing a lot of people, especially in the comment section on social media, saying that this this teen should have just followed the officer's command. But as you heard NAACP President Gerald Griggs say in that soundbite, since he was mistaken, the officer was in the wrong. He didn't have any legal obligation to follow that officer's command. So it's definitely going to be a story we're going to be talking about more in the weeks and months to come. At this point, the lawyers say they're holding back on any further legal action. They want his 10-day suspension lifted. He was also charged with obstruction, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. They want those charges tossed as well. As for the school district, we asked them for an update today. We did mention that that officer is no longer in active duty, but they did not expound. They did not elaborate on exactly what is going on in terms of that investigation and the officer's initial claims that that teen was on the wrong bus.
Yeah,
so
and that's
still a lot of unanswered questions here, but yeah.
Leads us to the obvious question, which you mentioned, Rob, and people are talking about online. There's obviously two sides to every story here. While school officials aren't saying anything, have police come out with any kind of official statement on the circumstances to what happened here and their side of the story in all this?
Well, Tom, it's important to note that this was a Fulton County Schools police officer, so this police officer falls under the umbrella of the Fulton County Schools system, so they haven't shed any more light. We're obviously looking for some body camera video. That teen also alleged that after he was already in handcuffs off the bus, he was again assaulted by that officer. We need to see that body camera video. We need a little more context and substance from the district, from their side of things. Again, the initial claim was he was on the wrong bus and officers were trying to get him off, but the teen and his lawyer out here maintain that he was on the correct bus. He was trying to get home to his 6-year-old autistic little brother, and that's why he refused. So a lot of unanswered questions. Hope to get them soon.
Yeah, and that officer, you said, is not patrolling that school anymore. On leave, I presume, pending the outcome of this investigation?
Yeah, on leave, there's no indication in terms of what sort of disciplinary, if there's been any formal disciplinary action, but I know it's standard protocol when use of force is deployed in a lot of police departments, even outside of school settings, that it is protocol for these officers to be removed from the street, so to speak, get on desk duty until the outcome of the internal investigation is known. So I think it's safe to say that is where the Fulton County Schools is resting right now. They want to investigate this a little more, but for now he is off of duty for the foreseeable future.
Well, as you said, Rob, so many unanswered questions, got a lot of people on social talking about it, and I guess we'll learn more when we get our hands on that body cam video to sort of shed light as to the circumstances of what might have happened here. Rob DiRienzo with the video of that teen today coming forward for the very first time to talk about what happened. Rob, thanks. Well, it looks like very soon we're going to get some more information about what happened in Fulton County's 2020 election. A judge ruling that they must turn over ballots and other documents despite objections from county leaders. Let's get out to Deidre Dukes, who spoke to the commission chairman today, joins us now with the state capitol there behind her. He's always sort of pushed back on this notion of giving up information surrounding the 2020 election, Deidre, but it looks like a judge is saying you got to do that anyway now.
That's right, and pushing back in part, Tom, because as you know, there have been numerous challenges and there have been numerous investigations, and each investigation found that there was no fraud committed in these elections, the 2020 presidential election here in Georgia. And so it's just one of those situations where as we head into the 2026 midterms, it's almost hard to believe folks say that we're still talking about the 2020 presidential elections here in Fulton County, but that is the case. And it was a major victory for the state election board last week when Fulton County Superior Court Judge Robert McBurney did rule in favor of the election board and call on Fulton County to grant the election board access to their 2020 ballots and related documents. Now, the Republican-led board opened an investigation into Fulton County's handling of the election last year, reopening an investigation. Fulton County Commission Chair Rob Pitts said today that the county will comply with the judge's order, but he is adamant that Fulton taxpayers will not pay to produce the documents at an estimated cost, he said, of around $400,000. Now, numerous investigations, as I said, have found no evidence of election fraud, but that has not deterred President Trump and his supporters who believe that the 2020 presidential election was stolen. Now, Pitts expressing his frustration also today with the ongoing fixation on the 2020 election. Here's what he had to say.
No one knows more about what happened in 2020 than I do. Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts. I cut the deal with State Farm Arena to have us to vote there and have our votes counted there. I was there on that night. President Trump was not there. Rudy Giuliani was not there. Marjorie Taylor Greene was not there. Former Representative Gates from Florida was not there. But they all sticking their noses in it, and they have no idea what they're talking about. So I assured the public then, I reassure the public today, those elections were open, fair, and transparent, and every vote was counted. So I'm very proud of the work that we're doing here in Fulton County. So this nonsense has to stop at some point.
Now, as for the release of the documents and who will pay for those documents, Judge McBurney did say that the State Election Board will be required to pay for the processing of those documents. The county must produce an itemized breakdown of the cost to process the ballots and the other documents requested by the State Election Board by January 7th, Tom.
Why, Deidre, so much pushback then from Chairman Pitts? If he says it was so open and transparent, why not just give the election board what it's asking for and handing over these documents and information surrounding the 2020 election and put this to bed once and for all?
Well, he would say, how many times do you have to put it to bed? Because there have been numerous, as I said, numerous investigations. This has been looked at several times by several parties, and it has been found that there was no wrongdoing on Fulton County's part. He did say every time they go through this process, it's time consuming. You're taking Fulton County employees who could be doing something else. They're using their time to have to respond to these allegations, to these legal challenges, and he's just saying, how many times do we have to do this? It seems like we're repeating this over and over and over. And also, Tom, as you'll recall, the Department of Justice is also now once again suing Fulton County in an effort to obtain some of the same documents Fulton County had gone to court to get their hands on this go round.
So is the Georgia Secretary of State, who comes out quite often and talks about, you know, the efficiency and integrity of the vote here in Georgia, does he ever weigh in on what's happening with Fulton County and these demands being made to the county to hand over these documents and to be more transparent?
Well, as you recall, Tom, on the state level, I can't speak to any recent interaction that the Secretary of State has had with the Fulton County leaders, but I can say on the state level, we have seen countless times where state leaders from the Secretary of State's office have come out and said, our elections are above board. We've seen that there have not been any problems. We've got some of the most secure, if not the most secure, election system in the country. It has been challenged, of course, during 2020, just as we've seen the challenges in Fulton County. And again, those challenges have found no wrongdoing. And so just at the local level, at the state level, you just got our state and local officials just very eager some 5 years later to put the 2020 election behind them and to move forward.
And real quick, Deidre, before I let you go, is the state election board, after they review these documents, now that the judge has ruled, going to release some kind of report after their work of going through all of that?
You would expect that they would, Tom, because as you know, there are several people who do believe that the election was stolen, several voters here in Georgia who support President Trump. And so I would expect, since it is a Republican-led board, that we should expect some sort of a report to come out of all of this once they have the documentation in hand and they had time to review it, go over it. I would expect that they will release a report on their findings.
All right. Great reporting, Deidre Dukes, as always, into this ruling by the judge for Fulton County to hand over documents and ballot information from the 2020 election. Deidre, thanks so much. We're covering a lot of other news here in the 3 p.m. streaming hour. This story, quite shocking. A Kenyan man, we understand, who targeted Atlanta's tallest skyscraper in a 9/11 style terror plot will now serve 2 consecutive life terms in prison. Take a look at these images here. Federal prosecutors say that Chola Abdullah joined the terror group in 2015 and spent about a year in Somalia receiving military-style training. Senior operatives later recruited him for a larger international plot that involved flight training in the Philippines so that he could hijack a plane. Abdullah was ultimately arrested in July 2019 after 2 years of flight training. Prosecutors say he was close to being ready to fly for a major airline. After his arrest, Abdullah admitted to the plot to FBI agents. Prosecutors further say the 34-year-old man researched Delta flights and was planning to hijack a commercial flight and crash it into the Bank of America Tower, which stands at 55 stories in downtown Atlanta. Quite frightening there. The Justice Department releasing another batch of files related to Jeffrey Epstein this morning, including some emails and unverified tips, more pictures, some items known to be fake, according to the Justice Department. There also are many references to President Trump. Among the heavily redacted files is a January 2020 email from an assistant U.S. attorney stating President Trump flew on Epstein's plane at least 8 times between 93 and 96, more than originally reported, at least once with Epstein alone, and another time with just Epstein and an unnamed 20-year-old woman. But with the files come a note of caution, the DOJ posting some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump. And although Trump signed off on releasing the files, he thinks that they're doing more harm than good. There's been another U.S. attack on a suspected drug boat, this time in the Eastern Pacific. It's the 29th such strike that we know of, and it comes as President Trump is planning a huge expansion for the U.S. Navy. The Trump administration continues to defend these strikes, arguing that they're having a measurable impact on the drug trade, but there may be a larger strategy at play here. The first strike on the suspected drug boat in the Eastern Pacific hit a wide net of targets, but then direct hits triggered a fire and then an explosion. President Trump yesterday talked about the previous boat attacks, many of which have been used to increase pressure on Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. And there have been recent efforts to nab tankers attempting to carry Venezuelan oil out of that country. The president announcing, as you see here, a new class of battleship. He says that they're going to be larger, faster, and more powerful than any U.S. warships from before. He unveiled the plan yesterday down in Mar-a-Lago, saying in part it's the administration's vision of a, quote, golden fleet. According to Trump, the ships will be armed with technologies including hypersonic missiles, rail guns, and high-powered lasers, some of which the Navy is still developing. The expansion will begin with 2 vessels said to be longer and larger than World War II-era Iowa-class battleships, but will eventually grow to a fleet of 20 to 25 vessels, an effort the administration hopes to secure naval dominance. The project comes just 1 month after the Navy dropped plans for a newly built small warship because of delays and high cost. This time around, along with the U.S. Navy, Trump will also be leading the design of the American-made ships. This is a long-held priority of the Trump administration to modernize the U.S. military, and it is beginning with the U.S. Navy. The Trump administration's interest in Greenland is ruffling some diplomatic feathers, but the White House claims it's all about national security. President Trump is making another big push to acquire Greenland, and this time the governor of Louisiana is leading the charge. The president appointing Jeff Landry as his new special envoy to the Arctic island, which is currently a possession of Denmark. But the White House claims that the Danish government isn't investing in Greenland's defense, and that's creating a problem for the United States. But Denmark is pushing back. The Danish Greenlandic prime minister released a joint statement condemning the move, writing in part, quote, Greenland belongs to Greenlanders. They say that they're going to work with the United States, but only if mutual respect is offered. It's worth noting that European leaders also object to the U.S. making moves on Greenland, so to speak. But the president has said that Greenland is of geopolitical significance for its shipping lanes and its geographic location. He says that China is making similar geographic moves in other parts of the country. So why shouldn't the U.S. secure itself and its allies in Europe? Greenland would be a huge piece of that puzzle. Just look at where it's situated here on the map, right in the center of the Atlantic Ocean. As we continue, we're going to take another look at our weather here on this holiday week. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy will join us live right here when we continue. Welcome back here to the 3 p.m. streaming hour on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haines with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. It's a holiday week. Christmas Eve coming tomorrow, Christmas Day on Thursday. The weather is only going to continue to get nicer, we hope, here, and a little bit warmer. Meteorologist Jonathan Stacy is standing by. He's going to talk about our forecast into Christmas and then looking all the way into New Year's week, which is next week. Can you believe we're ending 2025 and entering into 2026? You know, last night on The Pulse, if you were watching, Ariel was saying that 2026 still feels like it's miles away. Okay, it's like not even close, but it is. It's only days away, but we got to get through Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, then we can focus on closing out 2025 once and for all. There's big news out of Hollywood. There's a huge bidding war going on. It's an interesting story. Everybody seems to want a piece of Warner Brothers. The hostile takeover fight of Warner Brothers getting even more heated, with Paramount, Skydance amending its bid, Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison making a personal guarantee of more than $40 billion toward Paramount's $108 billion all-cash offer for Warner Brothers Discovery. Paramount's led by Larry's son, Chairman and CEO David Ellison. It also upped its breakup fee to match Netflix's $5.8 billion figure, payable to Warner if the deal does not clear and go through and reach regulatory review. Earlier this month, Warner agreed to sell its studio and streaming assets to Netflix in a deal valued at roughly $83 billion. What's the problem with that? Netflix doesn't want anything to do with Warner Brothers' cable channels like CNN, but Paramount does. They want everything, including the portfolio TV network, saying its deal is superior. The Ellisons are friendly with President Trump, who made it clear he wants new ownership for CNN. A holiday time meat food product is being recalled over possible contamination. The Food Safety Inspection Service has about 1,900 ready-to-eat holiday kielbasas made by the Olympia Provisions company is being recalled, and the recall affects the 16-ounce packages labeled Olympia Provisions Uncured Holiday Kielbasa. The product produced on October 14th and has a best if used by date of February the 19th. The holiday sausages may be contaminated with foreign material, specifically metal. It was shipped to retail locations in California, Oregon, and Washington, but it was also available for purchase nationally through online direct-to-consumer sales, which is why we're talking about it with you here today. Let's talk about what everybody is talking about, and that is not only the Christmas holiday, but what the weather is going to do. Joined by meteorologist Jonathan Stacy, who is here now with me. Jonathan, you know, I can't believe we're in late December and we're looking at temperatures in the 70s, but what's with all the clouds outside today? We couldn't shake them.
That is the menace in the forecast. Literally, I may have been a bit late to walk up here because you can't see this very well, but it's a old school Excel spreadsheet, and I have all of our major models on here. Okay. And this is we literally do crunch numbers to give you a forecast that's local here. And we got some new numbers in for tomorrow and for Christmas Day. And for the better part of 5 days, we've been talking about, oh, we're going to tie or possibly exceed a record for Christmas Day. Well, new models are just in now saying that the 75 that we've been thinking about for Christmas Day and talking about.
That was the record, right?
Yeah, that is the record as of 2015, 10 years ago, to be specific, that we would likely tie that record or hit the record or exceed it. New models that are coming in are showing 67, a 73, a 73, and a 74.
So it's going to be cooler than we thought.
Yeah, that's what we're getting at. And we think the modeling is starting to hint at the stubborn cloud cover, which is going to have a repeat performance for tomorrow and for Thursday.
Oh, so the same kind of gloomy
it's the
skies
same
out there?
Setup. It is like these days are like photocopies of each other.
Yeah.
We start out with cloud cover. Tomorrow we're going to add some fog to the mix because the winds will have settled behind a front that's moving through tonight. That front settles down, it moves out, the fog settles in, and then the fog is there by morning. Clouds around 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Okay, do the clouds start to break up? Can we punch some holes in them around 1, 2 o'clock? That allows the temperature to run up. If we get into the 3 o'clock period and the clouds have not relented, aka today, we see 60s. This could be one of those kind of things that we've talked about it, and it just does not happen based on the way the clouds are positioned in your neighborhood.
Is it that the clouds aren't moving, or are there just a lot of clouds streaming our way overhead?
It is a very weird situation. Basically, oftentimes you'll hear me talk about frontal systems as a parade. And let's bring all of this together really quick. Let's make it make big sense to answer that one question, Tom. Okay? So I'm going to zoom out all the way here. Let's see if I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay? So you're just looking at a static map of the United States. If you've been alive for the past month, you've heard us talking about the Pineapple Express or the atmospheric river that continues to pummel the Pacific Northwest and really the Pacific coast for that matter, down into central and even southern California.
Yeah, they're getting a lot of rain down there.
So what that means is the atmosphere is not backed up. Basically, storm after storm is running in off the Pacific coast. It jets across the Great Plains through the nation's heartland, and as it moves really pretty much to the north of, I say, Kansas, Missouri, all those areas, once again, the northern half of the United States, it runs into the Great Lakes, and it becomes what we call a clipper system. That clipper system gives really high snow amounts for areas in Minnesota, Wisconsin, even Illinois and Indiana, Michigan, obviously, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and a couple other New England spots.
Right.
This happens every 2 to 3 days. The atmosphere is working at a lightning pace. What is happening for us is we're on the southern end of all the big fanfare. Our weather has been up and down, but it's been the temperature. It hasn't been what's been
the tail end of these things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's a cloud cover by all that's going on across the top half of the nation that keeps on interfering, if you will, with our numbers overall. So when it comes to what the skies, okay, you see another shield of clouds. Like, once again, everything's decorated on the western and northern half of the nation. And then a few clouds managed to break beyond the Tennessee Valley. They come across our area. And because these systems are moving through so quickly, it seems like they're the same clouds. But yesterday's clouds are not today's clouds.
So it's like a new batch
system
of clouds.
that's already moving in. Yeah.
Which answers my question.
Yeah. But the cold front's moving in. So how much time do we have, Ariel? About a minute and a half, okay.
So my question, Jonathan, was...
System moves out, another one moves in.
Then they move back in.
Yeah.
So that was my question. Do you have a cloud radar in it? And obviously you do.
There you go.
So it's not only us, and boy, it looks like we're right on the edge. Like if we drove south down to Macon, we'll be in the sunshine?
Yeah, it's a bit better. What you're seeing right here, I don't know if you can tell the texture is a bit different, but what you're seeing is this is a lot of fog tomorrow morning, especially across the deep south.
Yeah, it's 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yep. And maybe a sprinkle or a spray or two.
Looks like everyone's just kind of covered right now.
Yeah. And this gets,
except South Florida.
This could throw off, and this thing will be through in no time. Look at this. Normally we don't show you all this on TV.
Yeah, but it's interesting because everybody's getting their own version of Christmas weather this week, you know?
It's interesting how it's going to work.
You know, Courtney went down to Los Angeles.
Sorry for her.
Courtney Bryant, to see her family.
She's a friend.
And she was so excited.
This weather is not friendly.
And we were looking at the forecast.
It will be
like
better to
rain
be in Atlanta
every single day.
Look at that. Just lining up one after the other. This is like we're waiting to get on the MARTA.
Well, I mean, it's good to be with your family. We're not going on vacation where we need to be laying out at the beach, even though we wish we were.
I know.
But yeah, so we have some clouds in the sky. It's going to be warm outside.
I need a beach vacation so badly.
Don't we all? Get in line, pal.
I'll be in the Bahamas first week in January.
Will you?
Yeah.
Good for you. Good to be Jonathan.
No, correct some numbers.
Jonathan, thanks.
Indeed.
We got a lot still to come. Speaking of traveling, Jonathan, get this.
What's up?
Do you pack heavy? Do you like have a lot of clothes and stuff that you bring with you?
Is it Lauryn Hill, Judea? Did she say pack light? Yeah, I pack light.
There's a company now based in Atlanta. If you do pack it, they take all your baggage from your front door. You don't even have to worry about it, and it arrives at your destination.
You caught my attention.
No worries. Well, then watch this next segment. It's coming up right after the break.
I like concierge services.
Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate so much you streaming with us this afternoon. I'm Tom Haynes with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom on Fox Local. Whether you're watching us on your home TV right now, streaming on your mobile device, you're on our YouTube channel at Fox 5 Atlanta, or if you're with us on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM, we're so glad you're with us on this holiday week. Chances are that you may be, or maybe one of your loved ones is traveling. Maybe you got some post-Christmas or New Year's travel plans. One of the biggest headaches of traveling now is the movement of our personal belongings, our luggage, right? Not only getting it to the airport, but then standing in those long lines. Now they have the kiosks where you have to check your own bags in and then wait in line. That can burn 20, 30 minutes. And if you're late for your flight, good luck, because then you got to get through TSA. Well, a company now based right here in Atlanta wants to take all of that off your hands. Achman Van Mary, the CEO and founder of Reclaim, joins us now live. Achman, thanks so much for being with us. It's called Reclaim. How did you think of this idea, and tell us more about it?
Hi, Tom. Thank you for having me, and thanks to everybody who's watching. This idea came to solve my personal problem. I travel quite a bit, and I've seen situations where I arrive to a city, let's say for a conference. I get there at 7 a.m., conference start at 9 a.m., I have to wait till 3 p.m. to get to my Airbnb. Therefore, I'm stuck with my luggage. Same situation with the hotel. My hotel is on the other side of town. I can drop it off, but I have to come back to the city to go to the conference. So that's when the idea started. Throughout my own problem traveling, and I decided, hey, we need to look into it, see if there's a possible situation. And we put a team together, started working on this situation. And now we can say we have something for Atlanta and the rest of the country.
How do you, Achman, accomplish the logistical movement of somebody's bag from their doorstep to their destination? In other words, do you follow along with that traveler on the airline, or do you have your own ways of getting bags where they need to be?
Yes, my background is logistics, and a few members from our team, that's what we've done. I've been in logistics for over 25 years, moving items. It's a passion of mine personally. And we look at this as a pure logistics situation that needed to be addressed. And with the help of technology like the new AI craze, makes it easier for us to do those things. The journey is simple. We just show up. If it's a hotel as a partner, let's say you are at St. Regis, I'll give you an example. If it's a partner, we pick up, you have a 6 hours window to book, because we want to make sure that we have enough time to deliver it to the airline or to the airport. We have 6 hours for you to book. Once you book, we come, we pick it up. Our own team pick it up, wearing something similar to this. They have a seal. They seal your luggage to guarantee that that seal number is unique to your luggage. You can track the movement from the moment we seal that luggage all the way to the airport. And that way you have full visibility. And when we return that luggage to you, we guarantee that the same seal number is still on the luggage. If for any reason something happens to it, you'll be notified. Let's say damage or because the seal broken, you'll be notified. But we guarantee that we keep camera that follow the whole trip from pickup to delivery, that the traveler get access to.
So let me make sure I have this straight, because I think it's a genius idea. If I'm leaving, say, Washington, D.C., and I'm staying at the Marriott, or as you said, the St. Regis, Ritz-Carlton, whatever hotel I might be at, my flight leaves at 3 p.m., it's 9 a.m., but I want to stop at my sister's on the way to the airport, and I don't feel like bringing all my bags with me. I notify you guys. You come pick up my bags. Do my bags make it all the way to my home here in Atlanta, or do I get them at the airport in Washington and then have to complete their journey myself?
The first option we give now in Atlanta, deploying January 2nd, is the option where we will take it to the airport for you prior to your flight. So we wanted to wait until we can do it door to destination, but the demand we have, we say, okay, we're gonna deploy from door to airport. Phase 2 is door to destination, which means we'll pick it up from Dallas. and then deliver it to the airport in Atlanta. And we can go a step further, even deliver it straight to your final destination, whether that is home, Airbnb, or your next hotel. So we want to give you a full service because we see luggage as the weakest link of your travel. You have pre-check for you, you have clear for you. But if the luggage had to go to check, you have to check your bag, you have to wait there. There's no pre-check. There's no clear for your luggage. So that's why we come in. But we're working on a solution that will be door to door, from your door in Dallas to your door in Atlanta.
So this, Ahmed, would then be sort of phase one of this launch of Reclaim.
Yes.
You know, getting my bags to the airport and not worrying about me being hassled with that. And ultimately, you hope to get door-to-door service here. It costs me as a traveler, if I'm not part of the airline's, you know, reward program and I don't have elite status, anywhere from $50 to $100 to check my bag. What is your price structure in order to get my bags from my hotel to the airport?
Our price is separate from the airline price, although we're in negotiation with some of them to see how we can have a one pricing on top of what they're already charging. If you book with them, you book our service directly to them. And we're also looking at partnership with certain companies that will offer it as a perk for their employees and also offer it as a part of the service they already offer, whether it's a credit card company, whatever you. But our fee is $25 flat fee for your first luggage. And if you have multiple, you have a discounted price after that. There are certain people that will have a specific discount because of the association they are part of. But it's a flat fee of $25 to pick it up from one place and deliver it. It's no hidden fee. We offer you a basic $1,000 insurance, but if you want to add up to $10,000 insurance, you're welcome to do that as well.
So you talked about your partnership with the hotels. Are you cultivating relationships with the airlines? In other words, if you get to your ultimate goal, which is door-to-door service, you'll have to have some sort of relationship with Delta Airlines or whatever airline your client is on to, I guess the word would be to trust your company, to check my bag at the ticket counter and get it where it needs to be and cross-reference my reservation.
You exactly correct. The way it works, we have partnership we will announce early next year, and as early as January of next year, that will enable us, through those partnerships, we'll be able to check to guarantee that you have a flight, because some people may have a boarding pass and then they cancel the flight. We will be able to access what's called the DCS of the airline partners to guarantee that you're truly going to travel on that flight. We see companies trying to work around the airlines to do this. Take your luggage, give it to a over-the-road trucking company, and deliver it maybe a day or two later or before. We want to work with the airlines where it's a one ecosystem, and that ecosystem comprises of hotel, the passengers, the transportation, whether it's Uber, the Airbnb, the airlines themselves. So we want the whole ecosystem to come together to solve this problem, because it does solve another problem for the airlines, the mishandled bag. Because the reason why most of those mishandled bag happens is because the traveler's in a hurry. When you have to put the sticker on your luggage yourself, you put it in such a way the system can't read it, so you create a fault. And sometimes you have old tags on your bags you forgot to remove, you create a confusion. So those are the things that people sometimes don't talk about. We are focusing on all those things to make sure that the mishandled bag, it's eliminated or completely reduced, or to make sure that the bag is no longer a burden for the traveler traveling, whether in Europe or the United States or North America, anywhere.
What a great headache to be taken off your shoulders if you're trying to get to the airport and you want to knock out about 30 to 45 minutes of standing in line and just go right through the doors, right to TSA, right out to your gate, for you guys to ultimately be able to offer that service. But I can only imagine if you're to become profitable and this is going to work, you're going to get competition from companies like Uber and other transport companies to try to move in and capture some of your idea here? Or maybe they'll buy you and you'll get lucky.
What we do, for the past year, we've been focusing solely on create relationship, because to solve such problem, it's not a local problem we're solving. It's an international problem we're solving. So I can tell you this. I took over 100 flights this year alone between Europe, South America, Latin America, US, North America, just to make sure we have all the right partners. So it takes a lot. And then some of those people you mentioned, those companies you mentioned, we already in partnership with some of them, talked to some of them. So we will announce some of those things early next year, like I said earlier, by January, because we have a big event coming into the US this year, something we never had before. And this is the World Cup. The World Cup gonna change the way people travel, especially it's gonna coincide with the summer vacation travel in the US. So all those things we're trying to get ready, and we know we're gonna get ready for them, working whether with the federal government or the TSA, all those organizations to create a new and a different experience for everybody traveling the US this summer.
Well, it's a great idea, and we wish you all the best with it. Achman Van Mary, CEO, founder of Reclaim. Achman, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you, Tom.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays.
Same to you. Thank you. And thank you. Same to your audience.
As you can tell, I'm kind of a logistics nerd, but I love the idea.
Me too.
Achman, thanks. When we come back, there's a cool local market that our Chris Rosenthal is at live. It's kind of your last chance to go there. All locally made, cool products. So if you're still shopping for the holidays, you don't want to miss this. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for streaming with us this week on this holiday week. I'm Tom Haynes with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom on Fox Local. So glad you're here. If you're streaming with us on the app or watching on your home television, on YouTube at Fox 5 Atlanta, or on the radio, 107.9 HD2 FM. We're certainly glad you're with us. You know, today is the last day to come out and purchase items from the locally made by Georgia makers of crafts and artisans. Sproul Shop is open until 6 p.m. tonight. It's a cool, quirky little place to go, especially in advance of Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Let's get out to Chris Rosenthal, who is there. Chris, show us what's out there. Today's the last day, right?
Last day indeed, Tom. You have until 6 o'clock to come out here to the Sproul Gallery. This is on Ashford Dunwoody Road. If you haven't been by it, it's over by the Fogo de Chao here. It's a cute little house, actually a historic home here in the area. And normally these walls are filled with art, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Normally it's an art gallery, but for about the past 6 weeks, they have been selling crafts and items made by local artists. We'll just walk around, give you a little bit of the tour, and show you some of the things that they've got that you, like I said, you got till about 6 o'clock to get out here and get some of these items. They say the ornaments have been extremely popular this year so far. I think about 150 artists that have their works here for sale. So, and some of them have even actually sold out their entire collections already. So, variety of different items, glassware, woodware, woodworks. You know, here we have some Hanukkah items here. So, and again, of course, you know, lots of ornaments, and of course, pottery, also very, very popular. So, and here is another room here. These are some of the less Christmas-themed things, but more of jewelry and other items. And I'm with Shannon here, Shannon Moore. She is with the Sproul Gallery. And tell me a little bit about these artists. These are some of these are instructors and students.
Yeah. So, on a daily basis, even when we are not during the Holiday Art Fair, in our shop we feature only Georgia artists and craftspersons, and many of them with us throughout the Holiday Art Fair are teachers and instructors here at the Sproul Center, which is next door to the library on Chamblee Dunwoody.
So, you know, you could also sign up and for some of these art classes, and then maybe have some of your items here for sale for future galleries and future art fairs, and the money does go back to the artists, of course. And you have, like we said, until when to come out here today?
Until 6 o'clock today, and we'll be open, and then we will say goodbye until January 13th.
And then what happens then?
Well, this year we're very excited that when we reopen the gallery on January 13th, by the 15th we'll be premiering our first Plus Shop residents, who is Jay Reddish, and he'll be with us in the gallery creating until the 17th, and then on the 23rd we'll celebrate his residency and also our first exhibition of the year, Two Searchlights, featuring the artists Medora Fry and Ben Steele. So if you'll come back out mid-January, we'd love to see you.
Absolutely. So plenty going on, even past the holidays here. Even if you miss some of the sale here and the items here, lots to do. But of course, you know, walk around, show you a little bit more of some of the other items here. We got some. These are really cool. Some of these glass ornaments as well. They say these have been very, very popular as well. So yeah, like I said, got until about 6. You know, this is right across the street from Perimeter Mall, so you know you can go do your mall shopping, and then also support some small businesses and small artists.
So there's a lot of cool stuff there. I love the Christmas tree decorations and some of the pottery and jewelry, and it's kind of cool to be able to give somebody something that was made here in Georgia. Or if you're traveling abroad, you know, some people that I travel with are always looking for things to bring that were made here in our state that might be unique, and we're always like, peaches or pecans, and it's like, well, you really can't transport those. So this kind of stuff is cool. And so they're going to be closing up shop. When you said Fogo de Chao, my mind automatically went to the one on Piedmont, but you're up at Perimeter. What's the main thoroughfare there that you're on?
Yeah. So this is off Ashford Dunwoody Road. So there's a Fogo de Chao here. This is a house right next door. And I know you're always asking about parking. So actually they have you park in the Fogo de Chao parking lot. They have a few parking spots there that are marked and reserved for customers, patrons of the gallery here.
Love those bowls. Those are super cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
just like for a big
this
pasta
is an artist,
bowl.
Regina Wolf.
Yeah, look at that. That is amazing. The detail on that. And to wrap that up and give it for what's the price point on some of these things? Like, how much is that bowl with the flowers in it there? Is the
this
price
one
on
here?
the back? Yeah, I love that.
Boy, I'm almost afraid to touch it, Tom.
Yeah, don't touch it. I don't want you to break it.
Yeah, let me not do that. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to mess anything up. But
all right, fair enough. Okay, we have to go there to find out, and it's till 6 p.m. tonight. Then they're going to be back after New Year's on the 13th. Chris Rosenthal, Chris, amazing stuff up in Ashford Dunwoody Road. Thanks. Thank you for joining us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haynes. Have a great holiday. I'll see you back here on Friday. Meantime, the news continues right now.